Hello friends, welcome back. Welcome back to Vision. We talked about envisioning, we talked about developing a vision, and we left at the point of wherein we were discussing communicating the vision. And I left you with a slide wherein a structure is there in terms of how vision is structured, developed, and now we would be focusing upon development to communication, but taking a chord from the same place I left you with, I would generate my discussion from there itself, from the same slide, from the same figure, so that we have a perspective around what we were talking of. So this is what we were discussing, and just to briefly talk about it. So we were talking about resource analysis, competition versus capabilities. You see, we have been continuously referring to the definitions wherein assimilation of resources dependent upon identification of resources. We have talked about that. Please do revisit those definitions. So analyze the resources, and when you analyze those resources, you have an eye on competition. I would be talking about that. For example, you are eyeing for the similar kind of a resource, product differentiation is very low. We would be talking about that later on. For example, how do cement manufacturing companies they differentiate themselves? Cement is largely an indifferentiable kind of a product. Many a times you have those kind of products and you have a challenge that how to differentiate your organization from your competitors in the eyes of your stakeholders and customers. You see, if you have a highly differentiable product, if you are differentiating a mobile phone with a mobile phone, then you have a space to position yourself differently. But in what happens in cement, salt, sugar, it's a tough deal. It's a slightly, I would not say complicated, but a tougher part. So competition versus capabilities, that is how things are. How effectively, efficiently you would do that, how you would differentiate your organization with difference in the values you nurture as compared to the competition. And then, as I said, management values, aspirations, preferences, choices, risk propensity, doing things a better way, executing things, being there with the people. I would be coming with those kind of examples wherein I would be suggesting that there are many organizations who would have gone as far as guiding their customers how to repair their houses, and I am talking of cement manufacturing companies. Just to name, ACC is one of those. And then environmental analysis, market, competition, macro environment, how you would be contributing in the sustainability of the physical environment. You are into, let us say, cement manufacturing, so definitely you have several questions in your mind. You are extracting some resources from Mother Earth, you are processing those, so you have to generate measures which are environment friendly and not contributing in the depletion of the environment. You are in air conditioning manufacturing basically, so you have to go for as many green measures and as many upgradations in the product which do not contribute into environmental depletion. That is what you have to think of. So market, competition, macro environment, and so on. Strength and weaknesses, what can we be? Strength and weaknesses are realizable in nature. You have to realize your strength, you have to realize your weakness basically. So you have to realize that you can do this, you can go up the hill. Many a times people, you would have heard this expression that people would say that I never knew that I could do this actually, So that is, so what do we want to be? What is our desire? Sometimes I tell my students and scholars that, fly, speed and open sky. These kind of words are vague, but the point is that the objective here is to suggest that, you have a lot, whole of this world to go and tell that this, that is how you associate your capabilities by demonstrating what you can do best, and that is how you develop your core competencies. We would be talking about that in due course of time. So then environmental analysis perspective is associated with opportunities and threats, and what are we allowed or focused to be. We would be talking about all these elements in due course of time in a more structured manner with many examples through different kinds of progressions and narratives associating every of these with our vision at the end of the day. That is why I have chosen this chart, and there are many similar kinds of diagrams and figures you would find everywhere. You Google those or you study through those books, you would realize that more or less this is how things are. Strategic options and strategic selections, the steps which we would be choosing in terms of pursuing that vision. And there comes what are the objectives and goals, kind of. And when we say objectives and goals, we are actually putting up a time frame to whatever we would be doing as far as the whole thing goes basically. And then mission statement is associated with a slightly longer time, putting up vision in a shorter span of time, which is seen as more achievable, but definitely longer than goals and objectives. And I would be coming to that in due course of time, and focusing upon what mission is and how to define mission in my subsequent session after this. So and then we would be traversing towards objectives and goals, of course, and that is how strategic vision is developed. And that is how a check again through environmental analysis, resource analysis and management values is done to craft strong business vision. Now, how to communicate the strategic vision? A strategic vision has little value to the organization unless it's effectively communicated down the line to the lowest of the level, managers or employees or partners or stakeholders at every situation. I remember I was visiting a plant of a large manufacturing company, and I was at the gate of the plant, huge factory. In fact, those premises they have I think 21 factories, integrated factories basically. So that's a huge food processing structure. So I was visiting, and I was at the gate of that complex, and I was discussing this with the people there, the people in the security there. And I was asking for the relations officer, public relations officer, and the head of that organization, because I was having an appointment with them to understand what they are doing actually. So there was some time gap wherein they requested me to wait until they verify that and check and prepare visitors card for me and so on. So in the meanwhile, I started discussing about that organization and the products of that organization with those people over there, and one of those, he could find time to communicate with me. Later on, when I visited that complex for 3, 4, 5 hours, I realized that the fundamental information and which that person gave me was, if not that deep, which I got from others and the head of the organization and the public relations officer of that organization, but it was, if not that deep, but it was quite appropriate, at length and valuable, and almost similar in character which the leaders had. What I am trying to imply here is that that organization had its strategic vision communicated to the security team as well. They knew about the products, the processing, everything more or less. So and they told me, in 15-20 minutes in a capsule form, they told me almost everything. So that is how organizations do. An effectively communicated vision is a valuable management tool for enlisting the commitment of a company. Again, we are using this word commitment, and authors have effectively demonstrated this word. So commitment of company personnel to actions that move the company in the intended long-term direction. Why a sound, well communicated strategic vision matters? Why we are emphasizing upon the importance of communication of vision so much? Why we are devoting so much of time, 2 sessions on vision basically? Because you see, you would realize in due course of time, in the whole duration of the course, that leadership and vision would demonstrate its presence in every strategic understanding which we would develop in due course of time. So it crystallizes senior executives' own views about the firm's long-term direction. What LIC is living for, you ask anyone. What Amul is living for, you ask anyone, and so on. Several organizations. You see, these are my frequent examples and my favorites, because they have played a very large role in Indian economy, and they have touched millions and millions of customers in India in due course of time. It is a tool for winning the support of organization members to make the vision a reality. The communication, well communicated vision. It provides a beacon for lower level managers in setting departmental objectives, how they would decipher the larger vision at the department and the functional level basically. You tell that, okay, you have to do everything excellently in your own department. What does that mean? How they would synchronize their job responsibilities and goals with the other departments basically. The other day I was attending a meeting with different HR heads of different organizations, and they were telling about the story of how HR has become a very important and a main function in organizations, and they have become a very large stakeholder in the organizational decision making in due course of time, how they have actually made their presence felt in the organization at a larger level and aligned themselves so much so that now they have become much bigger as just being a staff function basically, and that was an important learning for me. So that is how where departmental objectives and crafting departmental strategies that are in sync with the company's overall strategy, that is what I implied to suggest. You see, there are many departments wherein direct benefits can be expressed by those departments because they are directly in touch with the stakeholders or the customers. But then there are many, and these are line departments, we can categorize them in those kind of terms as well. But when you say that some department is a staff department or staff function, how that staff function should become prominent, that is an important thing for us to understand. It reduces the risk of rudderless decision making. It helps an organization prepare for the future. Well communicated strategic vision. Now let's look at this. And I told you earlier as well, I promised that I would be coming up with vision statements of several important organizations, and one of the most important organizations I feel, because of the fact, apart from many other facts, because of the fact that they started their production and their business at a time when it was really futuristic and someone was thinking about this. Jamshedji thought about this, was so futuristic and strategic and visionary in nature. That is why I have chosen this, as far as this, vision statement goes for Tata Steels. We aspire to be the global steel industry benchmark for value creation and corporate citizenship. These words are quite self-explanatory. I can go on and on deciphering such kind of vision statements, but I have built up enough space, I presume, that you may be able to well decipher this statement, especially emphasizing upon these kinds of words like industry benchmark or value creation or corporate citizenship. Try to analyze that, try to read more about Tata Steels, and you would realize what I am talking of. This is my favorite and my pride, Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. To attain global level of excellence in education and to create a sustainable and equitable society through innovative research in science and technology. You see, that is where we envision ourselves at a larger level, that we would be striving for global excellence in education, through education, create a sustainable and equitable society. We would be contributing. You see, we are creating products. This is just a simile. We are actually nurturing our students who would be playing a very important role in global economy and societal development. And many of students, we proudly say and we proudly feel in every alumni function, we witness that many of our students, or should I say all of our students are doing that, and many of our students are doing that very prominently. So they are actually contributing in creating a sustainable and equitable society through innovative research, wherein we are focusing upon research in science and technology and disseminating those through different kinds of our students who come to us with lot of effort, lot of expectations. SBI, my customer first, first in customer satisfaction. You see, very simple, well articulated, well focused, and that is how they are going. That is how they are developing themselves. In due course of time, their span is unmatched. They have improved their quality day in, day out. They have come a long way, and they are one of the finest banking organizations in the country, and you realize that. Patanjali, again, you see, in very short span of time, this organization has risen to heights, and that is why we chose this example for you. Keeping nationalism, Ayurveda and Yoga as our pillars. Nationalism, Swadesh. Keeping nationalism, Ayurveda and Yoga as our pillars, we are committed to create a healthier society and country. Well articulated, this is what they are doing, this is what is reflected in their actions and their products. To raise the pride and glory of the world, we are geared up to serve people by bringing the blessings of nature into their lives. With sheer dedication, scientific approach, astute planning and realism, we are poised to write a new success story for the world. They have articulated what they wish to do, what they are doing, and how are they doing that, even that is also articulated in this statement basically. So, you see, precisely this is how organizations think of themselves, this is how organizations envision about themselves, this is how they craft themselves. And if you will decipher these kind of vision statements, whether it be Patanjali or SBI or Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee or Tata Steels, you would realize that you would find the glimpse of their value chains, their resources, their stakeholders, their partners, their employees, their customers in these vision statements themselves, in that statement itself. And that is the beauty of the vision statement, which is well crafted and articulated. Mr. Narayana Murthy definitely is a visionary of our country, founder of Infosys along with his colleagues and friends. And you see, we have chosen this article, why don't we try to be India's most respected company? And this would demonstrate in front of you what I am trying to suggest here. It is a very important article and a good paper. And this article says that Mr. N.R. Narayana Murthy is quite the contrarian. At a time when few Indians felt that they could become entrepreneurs, he founded Infosys with just $1,000 in the bank. When no one believed that India could offer the world high-tech products, he dared to develop software services for export. In an era when conducting business ethically was virtually unheard of, he created a values-based corporation. Similar things we have talked about TCS as well, when I was referring to Mr. Chandrasekharan's role in TCS, and when the other day I was talking about Mr. F.C. Kohli and Mr. J.R.D. Tata, who actually conceived TCS. So, here we are talking about Mr. Narayana Murthy, and Infosys has played a very big role as far as India software story at a global level. So, that is how Mr. Narayana Murthy envisioned things, but it is not just about that, it is about how he looks upon at his own organization, and it's a wonderful thing which he actually talks about when he envisions what Infosys should do, how it should do. And this we have taken from a part of Mr. Narayana Murthy's interview with Harvard Business Review. I have taken a portion of the question, it is not the complete question which was asked to him, and I apologize if that should have been done, but just to decipher that this was the point of discussion, that is why I have chosen a portion of question. So, please, if I ask for forgiveness from Harvard Business Review as well as Mr. Narayana Murthy here, but just to demonstrate what was the point of discussion. So, powered by intellect, driven by values, that is the Infosys credo, as it was it was the point of discussion. How could you imagine creating a values driven company in India of 1981? So, the question was extended to some other points later on, but I chose this particular element of that question to demonstrate in front of you that this is the point of discussion which was initiated with him. And this is what Mr. Murthy said, and this is an important answer which demonstrates so many things which we have been building upon in terms of cultural values, beliefs, leadership and vision, envisioning and creating an organizational vision specially. So, let's look into this. So, Mr. Murthy, he says that in May 1981, 7 of us crowded into the tiny bedroom of my rented apartment in Mumbai. I had decided to quit my job to create a professionally managed software company and had invited 6 colleagues to join me. He was demonstrating that. The meeting was to develop our vision for the new company. I have taken slightly a larger portion from this interview, so this is to acknowledge that just to demonstrate the meaning of what was being discussed in this interview. It is not to copy from the article, but just to demonstrate. So, I ask for forgiveness once again. So, one of us suggested that we should try to become India's largest software company. Someone else said that our goal should be to become the country's biggest job creator. A third option was that we should strive to be the software firm with the highest market capitalization. And he says when his turn came in, I pushed back on those ideas saying, why don't we aim to be India's most respected company? I could have rewritten these lines, but that would have not been appropriate. So I thought that we should be copying few of the lines for just demonstration. So it's not about, it's just referring to the article. So if we sought, now you see, look at this. Why don't we aim to be India's most respected company? And then he demonstrates respect, and that is what is remarkable in terms of when we talk about vision. If we sought respect from all our stakeholders, mark these words, if we sought respect from all our stakeholders, I felt we would achieve our vision. How? If you seek respect from customers, now respect from customers is related to what? That means you must deliver what you promise. So, seeking customer makes you committed towards delivering what you promise. So, respect from customers and promise to customers, delivering promise to customers. If you seek respect from employees, you must treat them fairly and with dignity, your HR policies. So, if you seek respect from employees, you have those kind of HR policies, and we have talked about policy and plan and those kind of things basically, and we would be talking about the role of such policies in customer retention and customer development in due course of time as a strategic step and a long term strategy as well. Till then, just remember these lines which are very important, wherein retaining customers is associated with continuously keeping up to your promise of the products and the services you have promised to them. So, continuity and consistency in customer retention, that is this part. So, this is customer retention, this is human resource retention and human resource development, wherein you treat them fairly with dignity. If you seek respect from your investors, you must operate with transparency and accountability. Returns to them, consistency, and your transparency would assure that. So, that is where investor acquisition and investor retention, or investor attraction and investor retention, and so on. So many things are there. If you seek respect from vendor partners, you must deal with them on merit, and this is value chain development and value chain retention and retention of value chain partners. Deep long association of your value chain members is a strength of an organization. I remember somewhere I saw in an interview, or I read somewhere, I apologize if I am unable to give you very specific resource on that, but Mr. Brijmohanlal Minjal always believed in retaining strong relationship with their retail chain partners, because he said always that these are the partners who would actually take you to a closer relationship with the customers. So, if you seek respect from vendor partners, you must deal with them on merit. So, customers, human resource, investors and vendor partners, suppliers and probably retail chain partners as well. If you seek respect from governments, the country where you are operating, the society where you are operating, you must never violate laws, you should respect laws. So, government would respect you, they would treat you at par with the best of the organizations, they would give you that kind of a respect. So, you are a law abiding organization. If you seek respect from society, and this is the most important thing which I feel that we should learn, if you seek respect from society, you must live in harmony with it and create goodwill. Ultimately, if the society and the country decides that this organization should grow and we should support them as customers, value chain partners, investors, then the organization definitely would flourish. So, if you seek respect from society, you must live in harmony with it and create goodwill. If we could do all that, now this is whole value chain structure which he has demonstrated in this answer. If we could do all that, I argued we would attract customers, employees, vendors and investors, revenues, profits and market capitalization would follow. You see, profits are the byproducts of business. So, that is what Mr. Murthy envisioned, that revenue, profits and market capitalization would follow if you focus upon your value chain for seeking their respect. And you see, I would end up here in terms of how we should envision organizations, we should communicate that vision, but the lesson here is that we should focus upon a span where we are able to connect all the elements together in a beautiful manner, in a structured manner, which seems large, but then it has an element of action, achievement, achievability, should I say, specific results, measurement criteria. For example, the key word respect, which we just discussed, has a measurement of its own basically. You see, respect is an ultimate thing. We know that if you respect me or I respect you, that is all. So, it does not have to be measured on a particular kind of a scale, and that is the beauty of choosing these kind of elements associated with a vision. If somehow I choose a particular kind of a word which demonstrates that yes, it requires a scale, then probably I have to measure that according to that particular kind of a scale. But then if it is ultimate, then it is absolute in nature as soon as it is achieved. And if I am associated with you with an element of respect, then I am associated with you. Then you have to keep up that level of achieving that respect from me, and I have to keep up the level of paying my respect to you as such. When you say you associate excellence in terms of doing good to this society, we have seen that in IIT statement basically. Excellence through innovative research. Innovative research means going ahead in terms of bringing innovation to whatever we are doing, and that we have a context of using that research for benefiting whole of the society, for equity, for sustainability. We can only do that if somehow we will direct our research efforts towards sustainability. We would bring on those kind of people who would be believing in sustainability and research directed towards sustainability at the ground level, who would be believing in terms of learning and executing things which can be utilized at the ground level for the benefit of the society at the end of the day. We would be nurturing those values amongst our students who would be going out in different kinds of industries and directing their energy towards benefiting the society at large. They would be choosing organizations and they would be leading and directing those organizations towards the benefit of society at large. Ultimately, the goal, I should not say goal specifically, that we would use for different connotation when we would be talking about a time bound achievement, but I would say the long term goal and the vision is all about achieving prosperity and opulence. I leave you with these two words, prosperity and opulence. Keep thinking about these important words. Keep thinking about Mahatma Gandhi and his vision about India. I will be coming back to you, will talk to you about mission and several other important subject areas associated with strategy and strategic management. I will be catching up with you very soon. Till then, goodbye.